You are now entering the world of Musings of a Geek podcast network. Stay geeky, my friends.
On 14.
Hello, everybody. This is Mike on 40 going on 14.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Joel.
And I'm Josh, and I've got mighty bold talk for a four-eyed fat man.
Ooh.
You know, that was my father's favorite line in the movie.
Oh, it's the best line from the movie, I think.
Yeah, we used to use it all the time whenever either one of us would talk any shit to the other one. Mighty bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Oh, that's awesome. So, if you haven't picked up on that by now, we are doing the True Grit show tonight. We watched the original True Grit with John Wayne that came out in 1969, and then we watched the remake that came out in 2010.
Yeah,
with Jeff Bridges playing the Rooster Cogburn role. So, we're getting our Western on. This is actually the first Western show we've done.
I know, I realize that. It's such a wide genre of media that it's crazy that we haven't even touched on it in the last almost 2 years.
Well, you know what the thing is there's not a lot, there's Westerns, but there's not a lot of Western remakes.
We'll have to do the Django show at some point.
Yeah, Django, and then
310 to Yuma.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's, okay, I take that back. There's at least 3.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
And that's the show.
Good night, folks.
So if you're out riding the plains, hunting down the man that killed your father, and you need something to listen to, you know what you can...
Yeah, I think you should check out the Musings of a Geek podcast network. It's a pretty good transition.
Yeah. Best we can do at this point. So yeah, Musings of Geek Network, where you can find us and other wonderful shows such as The Bearded Ones, Who the What Now, is
365 Flicks,
yeah,
the Saturday Morning Block Party podcast, the Graphic Novice podcast, Comic Arguments, and Hard to Swallow.
Sounds good.
This time I just happen to have the tab open. So
yeah, Pat, you're not allowed to giggle unless you start contributing.
That was me.
No, I'm laughing as an outsider.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, well, if you're an outsider out on the range, wandering about, you can also find us on Saturday at Geek Life Radio at noon. Or you can find our older shows at iTunes, Blueberry, Stitcher, and TalkShoe.
And if you'd like to suggest better transitions from one section of the show to another, you can always give us a call at 708-NOW-RAP. That's 708-669-9727.
Mike is apparently out of segue material.
Yes. I need more segue.
You could also tweet us on Twitter at 40go14, find us on Facebook, or send us an email at 40go14@gmail.com.
Or if you're at Gen Con, you can tweet us in person.
Why would you tweet us in person?
Oh.
What?
Like if you're standing in front of us, don't tweet us, just talk to us. We don't bite.
Much.
If we have t-shirts by then, whoever comes up to us first at Gen Con and starts tweeting at us, literally, I will give you a free shirt.
End up some crazy dude who doesn't even listen to the show, because it's a lot of weirdos at Gen Con.
This is just what I do. I live tweet while I'm talking to you.
Tweet.
I'm sorry, sir. We don't have a shirt big enough for you. I'm assuming this is going to be a long tweet because that's a safe assumption at Gen Con.
Yeah.
So we have a voicemail in listener feedback news.
We do.
Yes, we do.
Huh.
And it is not from Charlie.
What?
Whoa.
Wait, is that like 2 weeks in a row?
No, I think was he on the show last week?
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, he was?
Yes, he was.
Oh, yeah. I think he might have been our only voicemail last week.
Now I'm concerned. He may be dead.
He's not dead, and it's not a Tuma.
So from all the way from the Bad Parenting Podcast.
Hey guys, Justin from Portland here. Listening to the Booze Show right now, and you guys are all talking about some of your first experiences of drinking, et cetera, et cetera. And I do remember when I was a kid, my dad was in the military, so he threw some parties on the weekends, and there was always a lot of beer and alcohol around there. But my first experience of actually drinking it was in high school. We paid a homeless guy to go to the local 7-Eleven and get us a couple bottles of alcohol, and we told him that he could get himself a bottle or two, whatever he could get with the money. And that was our biggest mistake, is we didn't put any stipulations as to exactly like what quality he should buy. We just said, buy whatever you can for this amount of money. And so, of course, he wanted to get a couple bottles for himself, so he bought the cheapest shit he could buy. So he came out with a couple cans of OE, some Mad Dog 2020. I want to say there was like Schlitz malt liquor in there and something else. And he proceeded to take his portion and went off and got, I'm sure, had a good rest of his day. And then we had about 20 minutes for a lunch break left. So between the three of us, we pounded the remaining couple of bottles and then attempted to go to drama class, just fucking blitzed out of our minds. So, yeah, I don't remember much about that particular day in drama. I guess we did a skit or something, and it went over semi-okay. But if you actually asked me to remember what we did, I couldn't do it. So, yeah, that's my little, first-time adventure with the alcohol, and it's just kind of continued on from there. Anyways, I love the show. Keep on doing what you do. Bye.
We got to hang out with this guy.
Agreed.
Yeah, there is no kind of blitzed like Mad Dog 2020 blitzed.
True story.
What about Cisco?
Dong, da, dong, dong, dong.
Night Train. I say Night Train.
Yeah, I was guessing that was what the one he was missing was Night Train. I mean, you've got all the titans of the cheap booze industry there represented.
Choo choo, motherfucker! It's Night Train.
Riding on the night train.
You know what I think?
Love that stuff.
Why does your Night Train have Mr. No Nose on it?
No, it's supposed to be Axl Rose.
Oh,
that was Axl Rose.
Well, Axl Rose is actually
Axl No Nose is who that was.
I'm on the night train.
I would so go see Axl No Nose.
He's almost there with all the surgery he's had.
No shit.
All right, gentlemen. I believe it's about that time.
It's all you, man.
This week in music, movies, and TV.
Sports.
All right, so this week we have chose 1969.
Pat was 30 at the time.
Yes.
Shut up.
The year True Grit was released. The original, not the remake. So, music. The number one song is by the Fifth Dimension, and it's called Aquarius, Let the Sunshine In.
I don't know.
I love this song.
I love this song because of the 40-year-old virgin.
Yes.
I love it because I love the musical Hair. All right, at least the soundtrack from it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. This is definitely one that if I'm listening to like The Drive or some other oldies station or 70s classic rock station, I'm definitely going to turn the volume up a little bit.
It's a good song.
As soon as I saw this, the entire time I was working on this weekend, I would just listen to the Hair soundtrack. Good.
Nice.
Long, beautiful hair.
Flaxen, waxen, and a bunch of other accents.
Yeah, close enough.
Twisted, mangled, tangled, and spaghetti.
Right. So, also, 1969 this time, Simon & Garfunkel releases The Boxer on April 12th.
Another great song.
That might be my favorite Simon & Garfunkel song.
Ooh, yeah. Between this or The Sound of Silence.
Yeah.
I Am a Rock. That's mine.
I am an island.
I Am a Rock is a good one, yeah.
So
I like la la la. La,
ooh,
la,
that is
where
a
he's
good
shooting
one.
people randomly during the song. La la la.
American, also a good one. I think what we're saying is Simon & Garfunkel has a very nice catalog of music.
Yes.
Especially the Boxer. This was a good week in music.
Yes.
Yeah.
April 20th, 1969, the LA Free Festival in Venice, California ends early following a riot.
Wasn't free enough?
It apparently wasn't free enough. 117 people were arrested. Why did they riot?
The alcohol wasn't free. That was...
Oh. So, but yes, that was the music portion of that section.
All right.
Like we said, Mike needs help with his segues.
Yes. Hurry up with those emails.
So, movies. Goodbye Columbus, which is Ally McGraw's film debut, is the #1 movie, knocking off the likely superior Support Your Local Sheriff. That's a good movie.
Which one?
Support Your Local Sheriff.
Right, and I'm saying it's got to be better than Goodbye Columbus, which I've never heard of.
Lie, lie, lie.
I'd like to make that video. That'd be fun. The 41st Annual Academy Awards. Holy cow. That just blows my mind that even in 69 there were 41 of them already. Were held on April 14th and was the first time in 30 years that there was no host.
What?
No host.
All they had was presenters, I guess.
People just walked up and took awards.
It was a free-for-all.
Despite the fact that it was the first worldwide broadcast. Oliver was the first and only G-rated movie to win Best Picture, and Stanley Kubrick also won his only Oscar that night for 2001 for visual effects.
He went up there with a big knife and dared anyone to try and take it from him.
May I have some more, please?
And then ran down a really long...
Stop me, I am unstoppable.
It's Kubrick, just let him. Well, he'll be good. He only wants one.
I just get one.
All right, so TV. The top shows are the acronym of the week, R&MLI.
Yeah, that's Ralphie and Mike Lickett.
That
Two
show.
best friends that, they just go around identifying things only by sense of taste.
It's Ralphie from Happy Days.
Ralph Malph.
Mike Seaver from Growing Pains.
Going around licking things.
I would watch that show.
Like,
right. You are damn right you'd watch that show.
That'd be awesome. Make that like a reality show now and be like, hey, oh my God, look, didn't you play Ralph Malph and Hype? What the hell are you doing?
Tastes like.
There's obviously Rowan and Martin's laughing.
Oh yes, that show was awesome.
Yes.
You know what my favorite sketch out of that whole season was? It was the dirty old man on the bench. Do you remember? Okay, I can't be the only one of us that have watched this show.
Crickets. I've seen it.
I don't think I ever have.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't say that I've religiously watched it, but I have definitely seen a couple episodes.
Come on, Goldie Hawn and her Seriously Prime.
Yep.
Which
is somehow still going on. I don't know.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. No, I think, is that the one with Sakatumi?
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of those.
Here comes the judge.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's the one with the dude, I forget the guy's name, but it was like the old man dressed up with the mustache and the coat on the bench, and I think Ruth Buzzy was sitting next to him, and he kept with me like, "Hello, my little dear, how are you?" Like, really being creep. Okay, so anyway, Gomer Pyle.
I think you just listened to it Aqualung too many times.
Hey there, Aqualung.
Gomer Pyle, USMC, and Bonanza are the top shows of the time. Bonanza?
Dun, 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 Bonanza. Dun, 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 dun. Sir, would you please turn on Bonanza?
It's a very proper show.
Of course.
They have a butler and shit.
I do say the cows have escaped.
It's high noon. It's time for my monocle to go on.
So, moving on.
Hear about a cattle rustling, sir.
Someone get Big Horse. Oh, wait, wrong show. Wait, it is the right show.
That's the right show.
Bonanza.
I think we're discovering why we haven't done a Western show before right now. So either way, on April 13th, Dick Van Dyke and Mary Tyler Moore reunite for a special Dick Van Dyke and the Other Woman on CBS. What?
The last time we mentioned Dick Van Dyke on This Weekend forever ruined his image for me. Shame on you, Mr. Van Dyke.
Who's the...
I still don't buy that, by the way. That was a voicemail. It was less of a this weekend.
Oh,
Don't
that's
sully
true.
the name of this weekend.
I'm thinking more sully the name of Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah. Oh, I'm more concerned about this weekend than I am Dick
I
Van
loved when he did a turn on Bonanza. He was fantastic.
And then The Mothers-in-Law, what? Ends its 2-year politically correct humor-fueled run on April 13th.
To be replaced by Ralph and Mike Lickett.
Tastes like Angela Lansbury.
Ew!
Oh.
It tastes like sardines and lynch.
Will Lansbury.
Somebody put on Gunsmoke.
All right. So now, let's get on to sport. On April 14th, the first Major League Baseball game ever is played outside the U.S.
Wait, no.
Wait.
There's no comma there or any other punctuation.
Stop, rewind, reset. On April 14th, the first Major League Baseball game ever played outside the U.S. happens in Montreal, Canada, when the Expos make their home stadium debut.
See how that changes?
Yeah.
Totally changes the meaning of the sentence.
Yeah.
Mike's
First
throwing in
baseball game
punctuation.
So, Michael Jackson is born April 12th. Not that, MJ, the NFL wide receiver who played for the Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, you tricked us.
I would totally watch Michael.
It wasn't my trick.
I would so watch Michael Jackson playing football.
He'd lose yards every single time he caught the ball. He just
the cry alones. What?
The Montreal Expos' Bill Stoneman no-hits the Philadelphia Phillies 7-0 on April 17th, only 10 days after the franchise's first game ever.
First ever game.
That is still to this day the record for the fastest no-hit in baseball.
In terms of how deep you are into the season?
Yeah, no, just in terms of how deep you are in the franchise.
Into
It only
existing?
took 10 days from their first game ever.
Oh, I missed that. Well, it's the team's first ever game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of humiliating. Like this is a ragtag assembled team of like draft picks and leftovers from other teams, and the first thing they do is get a no-hitter against you, and they're like, "Oh."
Aw.
Basically, the real-life Bad News Bears.
Exactly, and they no-hit the Phillies. It has to make the Phillies feel like losers. Like, oh.
All right. So now on to the main show.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get our grid on.
Mm-hmm.
Ew.
Feels like I've got sandpaper. Anyway, John Wayne plays Rooster Cogburn in the 1969 version of True Grit. Who else is in that? We also have Glenn Campbell. That Glenn Campbell as LaBeef. LaBeef?
Yep, LaBeef.
LaBeef. Kim Darby as Maddie Ross. Jeremy Slate as Emmett Quincy. Robert Duvall as Ned Pepper. And Dennis Hopper as Moon.
And Wilford Brimley as guest star.
Yeah, Wilford Brimley as not shown in this movie. Did any of us see him?
He was very, very young, so it was hard to like really pick him out.
Yeah, it was.
Younger.
Well, I'm.
He was born 30, so
Yeah,
you're right.
I can't really imagine Wilford. Well, this is Wilford Brimley's first movie, and he was just hidden in the background somewhere. Apparently, he played a bush. Hey, did you see that bush? It's eating a bowl of oatmeal.
Doc,
It's got diabetes.
I think I'm sick, Doc. I got the diabetes.
Who did I hit?
You know, I didn't recognize Dennis Hopper when seeing this again.
No, he was really young.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
so anyway, if you don't know what True
You
Grit
know
is
which
about,
one he was now, right?
yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
A drunken, hard-nosed U.S. Marshal and a Texas Ranger help a stubborn teenager track down her father's murderer in Indian Territory. Directed by Henry Hathaway, who has also done such movies such as The Sons of Katie Elder and How the West Was Won, Niagara, and other westerns. So, that's what it's about.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a revenge story. Do you want to do the trivia now?
Yeah, we could do the trivia now and come back to, like, going through the movie and how we felt about it.
Yeah. Okay. So John Wayne had met singer Karen Carpenter on a college show that he had hosted prior to the shooting of this movie, and Wayne was so impressed that he wanted Karen Carpenter cast in the role as Maddie Ross. He was disappointed by the casting of Kim Darby as Maddie Ross, and the two hardly spoke at all off camera. And he later said, "Joel, you want to do your John Wayne now?"
I'm just trying to imagine that it was hard to have Karen Carpenter because every time she turned left, she disappeared.
Well, I was thinking they would have saved a whole lot of money on craft food services.
Yeah.
I didn't get enough. Just follow.
Christ, talk about having no chemistry with your leading lady. She was the goddamn lousiest actress I ever worked with. Pilgrim.
That was really good.
No, it wasn't.
It was better than your Sammy Davis Jr. That
was my Sammy Davis Jr.
I think we watched different movies, Joel. So Henry Hathaway later said that he hated Glenn Campbell's performance, which he described as wooden, and claimed the singer was only cast so he can have a hit with a theme song, which would then help promote the film.
Well, we saw how that worked out.
It's a win-win.
It seems to me that everybody hated everybody else on this movie. John Wayne actively campaigned for the role of Rooster Cogburn after reading the novel. This was the only film from which John Wayne ever won an Oscar.
Really?
Yeah. When accepting his Academy Award for his performance, he said, Joel?
Wow. If I'd have known that I'd have put that patch on 35 years earlier.
Would you have a stroke there halfway through?
I did.
Yeah, if I'd have known that.
He went to the school of Mike reading.
I suddenly turned into I can't even say it. Prickle from Gumby.
Oh my God, Prickle is John Wayne. It makes so much sense now.
Hey guys,
the whole universe just opened up in front of Mike's eyes.
Stop.
I just have to say that this must have been the year that they didn't have a host and everybody just ran up and grabbed an award, because I did not see acting.
Well, they said that John Wayne got this one pretty much out of sentimental reasons. That they're like, he's 72 years old. We better give him one now because he may not be around next year.
Well, and there's a little bit of extra trivia that wasn't on wherever you dug this up, Mike, based on this particular Academy Award. When he got it presented, Barbara Streisand handed him the award, and he whispered in her ear, "Beginner's luck." Later, he spent the night drinking with Richard Burton, who was someone else who had been nominated for having played Henry VIII in Anne of the Thousand.
Oh my God, it's Kitching.
King Henry VIII in Anne of the Thousand Days. And drunk, John Wayne knocked on the Welshman's door, handed Richard Burton the Academy Award, and shouted, "You should have won this, not me."
Yeah, he didn't really care for what was seen as a sympathy Oscar. He was a very prideful guy.
Oh, you think? So more trivia. Cogburn's eye patch is worn over his left eye. The same eye over which John Wayne's longtime director and great friend, who he referred to publicly as Admiral John Ford, wore his.
The legendary John Ford.
Yes. The character of Maddie was supposed to be 14.
Like in the remake?
Yep. Kim Darby was 21. And she already had given birth to her first child.
Wow.
She didn't look it.
No, she looked closer to 14.
Yeah.
I had to look it up because I was like, when the beef started hitting on her, I was like, how old is she in this? And I looked her up and I saw her real age. I'm like, they must have made her older.
It was very disappointing when I looked that up. Yeah. I was all excited about that little spanking scene until I know she was 21. I was like, oh.
What?
I took off my pants for nothing.
Hello, Patrick. Have we met? We should go hang out sometime at the playground.
Oh, so the scene near the end where Rooster Cogburn and Ned Pepper's gang meet in a field and Pepper's shot is filmed in a clearing near the top of Owl Creek Pass outside of Ridgway, Colorado. The field is off the road to the left and is really easy to find.
It was beautiful scenery. That's one thing I do have to say about it.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really good cinematography, actually. I mean, it was a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
Very, very, very pretty. The whole thing.
So, so what did you guys think? I mean...
Well, let me just start off by saying I'm not Westerns are like the last on my list of things to watch. I don't actively seek them out. I don't get excited, generally speaking, when they're released. It's just not my thing. But every time I watch a Western, it doesn't matter what it is. I've not seen one yet where I didn't end up at the end of it going, wow, that was really good. And despite John Wayne's acting and his leaning really far to the right occasionally for no reason.
Like is John Wayning it up, you mean?
Yeah. So being John Wayne.
I thought his batteries were low or something. I don't know. He's just like really off to the side.
You haven't really watched a whole lot of John Wayne movies, obviously.
I've seen The Quiet Man, which I love, but
that is a great movie.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all I know him for, and I watched that for Kathleen O'Hara. But I
Stagecoach
really liked it, despite never being like, yeah, I want to see True Grit. You know, I was impressed.
Yeah, if you want to see some good, I mean, honestly, I think I like Rio Bravo. If we're going by John Wayne, Dean Martin.
Well, okay, let me just say that as far as my father was a huge Western fan, so I grew up watching a lot of Westerns, and I know a lot of Western stuff because of that. And his favorite movie was Rio Bravo. I mean, his favorite Western movie was Rio Bravo. But I saw this movie when I was a kid, and I haven't seen it since then. And there was a lot of stuff in this movie I didn't catch as a kid, and I actually enjoyed it a lot more watching it as an adult.
Did it take you back?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I remember watching it with my dad. We were sitting on the couch watching it when I was like 12 years old or something.
This is the first time I've seen this. I've never seen, actually, in either of them, I've never seen the remake or this. This is the first time I've watched them. I watched one night, one the next. And you know what? John Wayne's Rooster Cogburn was ham-fisted, just this cartoon-ish of a character. But I loved it to death. I mean, everybody was a caricature of something in this movie, and it was so great. I mean, just John, because you could tell that John Wayne reached a point in his age. First off, he's 71 or 72 years old in real life. And,
no, he was 61 when they filmed this.
Oh, 61? Okay.
He died exactly 10 years later when he was 71.
Okay. So John Wayne is 60. The character he's playing is 40. And he just doesn't care anymore. He's just like, I'm John Wayne. What are you going to do about it? You know, it's like he's...
And it's like, everything was kind of over the top in this movie as far as, like, I mean, because they took an actual kind of serious book and kind of, I don't know, almost Batmaned it up. They just kind of made it a little bit more comical than it was. And so everybody was over the top acting because they didn't really know how to act. And then you got John Wayne, who was like, fuck it, I'm just really going to get into this character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the other two, you could watch them and just see them trying to act, and it wasn't really working. Like that scene between Kim Darby and Glenn Campbell when they were sitting at the table was just painful to watch.
Oh yeah. Well, and honestly, Kim Darby is painful to watch.
Yeah, she's.
Well, I don't know. Her voice does that tremolo thing. That's so. I mean, honestly, I texted you guys when I was watching because I did not know that Kim Darby, that she was in this and was actually the mom from Better Off Dead, and her voice.
Which she keeps talking about the corn fritter things. I keep waiting for her to say it's got raisins in it.
You like raisins?
My
corn fritter just sort of crawls off.
My history when it comes to Westerns, as a kid, I didn't watch them very much, and I didn't like them. I didn't have any use for them, but the film that changed my mind was in the 90s, Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood.
So
and
good.
After seeing Unforgiven, I just went on a tear and just saw all of the Clint Eastwood and John Wayne movies I could get my hands on. And this was in the middle of that pack of those like 2 or 3 years there where I was just watching Westerns all the time.
That movie Unforgiven had one of the best lines in any Western ever. It's like, well, he should have armed himself if he was going to decorate his saloon with my friend.
Ooh, nice.
No one can eat 50 eggs. That's cool.
Something funny about Unforgiven is that, I mean, at least with me, we had like movie night when I was in youth group back when this was out. And I was like, all right, okay, we're going to go have a movie night. We're going to everybody bring $10, go to the movies. Back when you could go to the movies for $10. And the woman who was in charge of the youth group decided that we were going to go see Unforgiven. Whoops. Yeah, so we get into the theater, and I'm like, oh, cool. I mean, this looks totally my type of movie. I'm sitting down, and that first scene, the first opening rape scene, kicks on, and me and my friend Brian are sitting there like, hello! And then, like, outside the theater, she literally, they began the speech. I want to say I'm extremely sorry. I did not realize that this... we're looking at like, did you not read any of the newspaper? That this movie may not be the best to bring... a bunch of...
This is the most realistic Western movie made ever.
Yeah.
Can I throw one in just to match that? My cousin John, he picked the movie for a youth group night.
Yeah.
Naked Gun.
Nice.
And the pastor walks in right as the statue scene is happening.
Yes.
Nice.
Assault
And
with
he's
a
like,
concrete dildo.
I don't think this is appropriate. Turns it off, and that was the end.
Oh,
See,
boo.
the thing is, though, she had a ongoing trend of just choosing the wrong friggin' movies. We had a lock-in. Okay, we're gonna get
Clockwork Orange.
No, Misery.
Yikes.
I'm like, why the? I'm like, it's one of those where she goes, "Oh, we got a movie, put on Misery." I'm like, now, at this point, I had already read Misery, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go off on a limb saying you're not really good at choosing movies.
Matthew's lock-in was Predator.
Yeah. No,
Right,
that
so
was
back to this
yes.
movie.
Okay, so anyway,
Sorry.
yes.
Josh watching Western.
Well, one of the things that I thought was interesting about this one, comparing them to other Westerns, is with the exception of the good, the bad, and the ugly, this has got a pretty complex plot, more so than a lot of the other ones. There's a lot of different characters, a lot of different interactions between the characters, several major villains, that one of which isn't even really introduced until the end.
Yeah.
There's just a lot going on in this film.
It was very uncommon at that time to have a strong female lead like this character.
And after that, they were still waiting for a strong female lead.
I thought she was fine.
The thing is, the character of Maddie Ross is actually a really good character. And
Yeah.
I don't mean to just keep piling on Kim Darby, but I mean, she's an awful actress. But I mean, the concept of this, this smarter than she needs to be frontier girl who just happens to live on a farm with her, and runs her father's farm for her, and is going for him, and is going for her revenge against the guy that killed him. I mean, that's a good character.
Yeah. And I kind of liked some of the delivery where she was way more proper than you would think that anyone in the Old West would be. And that kind of set her apart from everyone around. They don't quite know what to react to her because nobody talks like that.
Yeah, she was extremely by the book. I mean, she was like an Old West, what's his name from Dragnet.
She's
Joe
a quintessential lawful good character.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole bartering scene where she gets the guy to sell the ponies back to her, and then turns around and buys the pony back from him for $10 that he was going to sell to the glue factory, and he's like, "Wait, what? Well, shit." It's like
I don't know what all the hate's about. I mean, I didn't think she was phenomenal, but I didn't think she was that terrible. I mean,
She had really, really wooden delivery.
yeah.
like John Wayne and Glenn Campbell.
Glenn Campbell at least kind of in some of his scenes loosened up a little bit. But
yeah, and I thought all the performances were fine, and I actually would have called Glenn Campbell's good, especially for having very limited acting experience. He played the charisma at the beginning of when you first meet LaBeef, realistically and with some genuine warmth. And then when he starts to turn on everybody and show himself to be a little bit of a heel and be kind of incompetent and more of a blowhard to his eventual redemption, I thought he was fine.
He was no grandma.
God.
And I'd like to say,
how fucked up is that? It's like, oh, you're going to be sleeping with grandma here. What?
I like the gun in the earlier one better, by the way.
Well, you know what? One of my favorite lines in this whole movie happens early on when they're leaving and Maddie is bitching to her mom about Tom, and she's like, we gave him a roof, and she's the line that the mother says you could still throw a cat through the south wall. and like there was just such glee and experience in her eyes when she said that.
That's how she tests all the walls. She throws cats, and if they go through,
this wall has a 3-cat rating.
That's what they were doing in Holy Grail then.
It was just such a weird line.
Oh, so, but yeah, I mean, there was a lot of weird. I mean, the cigarette thing when she rolls his cigarette for him.
Yeah,
she was rolling for her dad. I think probably.
I know, but that was still kind of weird.
To just grab a stranger's ear and start rolling his cigar, or his cigarette for him.
And she acted like there was nothing out of the ordinary about that at all, which I thought kind of added to the scene.
Right, and like that's what you were saying earlier. It's like a lot of people just didn't understand or know how to deal with her because she was just so proper and also so improper at the same time.
She was headstrong and was very. I mean, she had no fear.
Right. She behaved more like an adult than virtually any other adult in the Old West, and that threw everybody off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe she even behaved the way she imagined adults should act.
And also the fact that she was too smart to be swindled by anybody.
Right.
Yeah, I think that what you just said, Josh, is that she was acting like she expected adults to act. And I think it was
and how she expected them to treat her at the same point.
Yeah.
Don't make me get lawyer Jim Daggett for you.
Because her philosophy was, if I'm treating you with respect, why are you not treating me with respect?
Yeah.
Because you're a young woman in the Old West.
I'm going to get my lawyer Jim Daggett on you. And what's that coming? She wields him like a pistol.
Yeah.
Well, and the one thing that made me kind of dislike her a little bit, and I thought they could have left out there, is when she's at the table at the boarding house and they're eating dinner, and she's like, "Would you like some more dumplings?" And she's like, "Sure." She's like, "I don't think it's 25 cents worth, a bunch of flour and grease." It's like, just eat.
She's kind of a bitch.
Not to mention that there was more to that meal than just the dumplings. Like there were side dishes and drinks and everything. It's like, so shut up.
Well, yeah. I think her point was that she thought she was being overcharged for the meal, and she refused to be taken advantage of in any small, slight way without comment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that.
She had to make sure you knew that she was getting swindled.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they had established her as a bookkeeper, and this is kind of her transition where she's itemizing every single thing she sees, and she's making sure that all of the adults know that she's keeping track of it.
And it was kind of funny / sad. That was, when she's handing $150 to her dad, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, you know what? It's kind of sad that $150 is still kind of a lot of money today. Like if somebody gave you $150, you'd be like, woo!
Yeah. Right? I would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be like this, look, it's only $150. Look how, this is a lot of money back then. Shit, it's a lot of money now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's sad. Did any else of you hear the "I'm scared of the booger man"?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird comments. I mean, and
a bully of a shot.
Yeah, and then a lot of comments being made about being from Texas.
Oh, yes, a lot.
Yeah, you're a Texas brush popper. So tell me, Pat, what is a Texas brush popper?
It's just a random term for a cowboy.
Okay, what about a Texas waddy?
Same thing. Waddy and brush popper, they're both just like generic slang terms for a cowboy.
Well, and keep in mind that at the time, the Texas Rangers were notorious blowhards. Oh, and with good reason. I mean, from the foundation of the Texas Rangers, when they talked about like the Sharp's Big 50 being assigned to them, it's a one-shot rifle, and they said, "Well, what if a Texas Ranger misses?" It's like, I don't hire men who miss.
Yeah, I mean
they were legendary back then, and a lot of that legend came from their own ranks.
Right.
Yeah. Or the whole comment of "I've drunk water out of a shoe footprint," or whatever comment that he made, where he's drinking dirty water out of a hoof print,
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, if I had $1 for every one of you that have told me that you've drunk, it's like there's so many comments about these Texas boys being such blowhards and arrogant.
And in general, I mean, this movie just had a lot of funny lines. I didn't remember this movie being as funny as it was. Like the whole thing about, you're quite the horse shooter. And when he's talking to the guy at the store, he's like, he believes in putting everybody afoot. Says there'll be less mischief that way.
What I found was interesting is you do have the two men sort of competing to make themselves look better in the girl's eyes, and there's nothing romantic about it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which one of my favorite scenes in the movie, which kind of turned me to I already kind of liked it, but is when I was like, okay, I really like this, is when she's going across the river on the back of the horse, and John Wayne's like, he says, what is it? It reminds me of me.
Yeah.
And I just, at that moment, I was like, oh, right. And, go ahead.
I was going to say, then Glenn Campbell's line, he's like, well, then I don't think I'm going to like you much or something.
Yeah. It was just a great, very simple scene, but it worked so well.
And I don't know if you guys know this, by the way, but if you ride have any of you guys ever ridden a horse?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
a little bit.
Well, if you ride a horse while wearing wet clothes, that is just a recipe for chafing.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
And I don't know how she just, continued on. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I'm going to hop off on this. That's what they skipped over a whole week worth of her healing up after that.
Yeah.
Ow,
and the poor horse had to be tired after swimming across the river. And she's like, let's go.
Blackie.
I'm going to call him Lil Blackie. That name just came to my mind for no reason.
That's a good name, ma'am. That was
I swear I'm not racist.
How?
Why would the boy be racist?
No, she.
Oh.
Naming him Little Blackie. She looks at the little black kid and winks. Huh? What do you think?
Kim Darby. How about just the brilliant thing that he lives in the back of a Chinese grocer's with a cat?
The general.
Yeah.
That to me was just a nice little added touch that I'm guessing came from the book, but
the original departed from the book a heck of a lot. Now I'll revisit this when we talk about the remake, but there was a lot of stuff in the book that didn't make it to the 1969 movie.
Right.
Have any of us
another one of the reasons why John Wayne really wasn't happy with it, because that's one of the reasons he pursued the character of Rooster Cogburn, was because of the book.
Have any of us read the book?
I have not.
I have not read the book, but like I said, I'm going to revisit the topic of the book in the second half of this show.
Cool.
Another scene that really made me laugh so much that I actually notated it is the ranger, LaBeef, is worried about, at the first time that they make camp, he's worried about the fire giving him away and everything.
right.
And he's like, don't want to give away our position. And then he promptly goes off and fires a rifle at a turkey.
Right?
Like you're worried about the fire, but not this giant booming explosion of a gun. Okay, that makes sense.
He wanted to present himself as a badass, but until near the end of the movie, especially in the 1969, LaBeef is all talk and kind of incompetent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's always got excuses for why he's kind of shitty at doing this.
That's very true.
Yeah, I liked Glenn Campbell in the role, but definitely of the two portrayals, the original was the less sympathetic to the Texas Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
They were setting him up for quite a redemption arc.
Right.
Yes.
Which we'll have to talk about the varied endings once we get to the remake.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Dennis Hopper.
Okay.
It took me a second to realize that actually was Dennis Hopper.
Agreed.
Because it took me, I had to pause it. You had to find that right time.
Because he wasn't high?
Because he wasn't baked off his brain and, the wrinkled old curmudgeon that he is now.
He's dead.
Well, then he's really wrinkled.
Yeah. Highly, highly wrinkled.
Yes. And he didn't have a gas mask.
What? Oh, talking about we had the oxygen or the helium.
Fuck.
Don't you fucking look at me.
So yeah, he gets shot, And
He doesn't get shot. He gets stabbed in the chest.
Stabbed.
Yes.
Your friend killed you.
Not done for him.
Yep. That's such a good scene.
I mean, the whole cabin scene was good.
Mm-hmm. And how they keep freaking out. What is she doing here?
I don't like you. I'm not going to let my lawyer defend you. You can go to prison.
Yeah.
There she goes about that lawyer again.
She holds that like a gun.
So, a little bit of chasing, a little bit of hunting down. They finally catch up to him. They go to the Indian barber and trade some racist banter.
I love how he just keeps kicking the kids off the porch.
No, that's the second movie. That was in the remake.
Damn it! Sorry.
It's all right. We'll get
to that though.
We'll get to that. I definitely want to talk about that.
But then you have the 1 against 4 horse charge where Cogburn's got 2 guns blazing and 4 other bad guys coming at him the other direction, guns blazing.
And I love the rifle spin reload.
Oh my God, yeah.
It was so cool.
Which they didn't have in the remake.
No, they made
pistols.
Yeah,
he had pistols. That's it.
Yeah. But that move, if a guy can pull off that spin and cock the rifle move, it's just, you're badass for good.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Plus he had the reins in his mouth as he's riding.
That's at least like 3 feet right there just to be able to do that.
I just love that. Like before he
did you
puts
honest
the
to
reins in
God
his
just
mouth.
make an RPG?
Yep.
He did. Oh.
So when they say that's mighty bold talk for a one-eyed fat man, he just looks at him and says, "Fill your hand, you son of a bitch."
My dad and I used to banter that back and forth to each other. Fill your hand, you son of a.
So
just the look of indignation on his face. He's like you motherfucker.
That was probably his best acting moment in the entire movie.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did anybody else think that the snake pit thing was a little bit past where it needed to be? I mean, I got why it was there, but they could have had a snake just there.
That is not how you handle a rattlesnake, for one.
Yeah,
well,
eat the shit out of it, but don't kill it.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna like kill the rattlesnake. I'm just gonna poke at it with a stick and piss it off a whole bunch
until it just keeps attacking whatever is hitting it.
And that poor snake's like, God, gee, I just want to go away. Stop hitting me.
If you'll stop hitting me, I'll just go in the corner and leave you alone.
It's like whack, whack. All right, I'm going.
This bitch obviously wants a fight.
So Maddie gets her redemption, and that Tom Chaney gets it in the end.
Yep.
As does the rest of the gang.
Yep.
Including the beef.
The beef. I'm amazed that he didn't die just from getting hit upside the head with a rock.
No kidding.
Pretty sure that is what did him in eventually, though.
Yeah. I'm sure he was bleeding out from a scalp wound, and he was practically dead when he was dragging them out. And that's the thing, is like he comes all the way back, has just about completed their redemption, shows up to save them at the last second, and then promptly drops dead, having been hit by bushwhacked by a coward with a rock.
Yep.
He clocked him hard, man.
Yeah. That was really for the 1969, him getting hit, that was really a hard, I didn't expect it to be. Yeah, it did.
Now, do we talk about it's hard not to talk about the differences between the two. I guess we'll have to wait.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the second half. I mean, we've got the basic sketch of what has happened.
But Brewster lives, and they go back to real life, and she sends him the other $50
plus a bonus.
Right.
Yeah.
And he has kind of which Lawyer Daggett shows up to deliver it.
Yeah, and then he gets his own gravesite.
They have
There's
kind
a
of
funny scene though when he finally meets Daggett. He's like, "Holy shit, you really exist!"
And you know what?
To be bigger.
When Daggett walked in the room, you know what line immediately came to my head was, "I expected you to be taller."
Well, and then they had kind of the cheesy ending where it's like, he makes some joke and he laughs and They jump up in the air and they freeze frame, and that's not exactly how it happened. But
No, it was. She made a crack when talking about how he'd bought a new horse after he'd said it was such a great horse it could jump over fence posts and whatnot. And she's basically makes another crack about him being old and fat. Like, I'd like to see that with an old fat man on its back. And then he does. He demonstrates.
Then he says, "Fill your hands," and he pulls out a gun and shoots her.
That's the director's cut.
Yeah.
right. That's a Sam Peckinpah version.
Nice.
Cool. So, yeah, then he rides off into the sunset. They have the happy, ending. Everybody got, except for LaBeef.
Yeah.
It kind of sucked for him.
And Ned Pepper.
Yeah, not lucky anymore.
That was another trivia that I wish I forgot to put in here. Robert Duvall, method actor, apparently was pissing John Wayne off left and right. Because apparently John Wayne threatened to punch him in the mouth if he contradicted the director one more time.
That's so funny.
I could see that. I could see Robert Duvall doing the, what if I did this, and just seeing John, I'm just gonna punch, just coming at him. It's like, I don't like her. I don't like you. She hates him. We all hate each other. Let's get this
over. The book was better.
Yeah. So, shall we move on?
Yeah, I think we're probably ready for a break.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're going to talk about True Grit 2010, and we'll talk a little bit about what was different, what we liked, and give our final verdict on both films.
Right on.
I do not know this man.
All right. Let's get some more grit. Now, back in 2010, the Coen brothers decided that they were going to remake a movie, and they decided that they were going to remake True Grit. Produced by Steven Spielberg, and I don't even want to get into it yet. Okay, it's starring Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, Josh Brolin, Barry Pepper, and Haley Steinfeld. For Jeff Bridges as the Rooster Cogburn, Matt Damon as LaBeef, and Haley Steinfeld as Maddie. And Haley came up against 15,000 other actresses and she got cast.
That's a lot.
That is.
I don't think Kim Darby had to beat that many actresses.
Probably not.
Well, once they heard her nice tremolo voice, they were like, she's in.
You're going places, kid.
With raisins? You like raisins?
French bread.
French
fries.
Dressing.
It's a drink. Peru.
Honest to God, I thought I had never known that she was in True Grit when she was a kid, and I thought she was actually putting on something when she was talking like that in Better Off Dead. I did not realize that her voice actually did that. And it was annoying as shit. So, anyway, Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, Haley Steinfeld, the top three. Same plot line.
Mostly, yeah.
Mostly. Maddie Ross. Well, Maddie Ross hires Rooster Cogburn to go after Tom Chaney after he kills her dad. And then LaBeef jumps in and tries to help.
After sitting in a room and smoking all night like a creeper.
That was weird.
Yeah.
I watched the second one with Katie, and in that scene, she was just kind of like, so he's just been sitting there how long watching her sleep?
Thinking about taking a kiss?
Yeah, of this actually 14-year-old girl? Like, yeah.
I'll show you, LaBeef.
Matt.
Yeah, they could have reworded all that a little bit, rewritten that maybe a little.
just a bit. So, but she actually was 14, and because of child labor laws, the Coen brothers were unable to film any scenes past midnight, which was especially difficult because there's a lot of scenes that happen at night. So, because of scheduling problems, anytime there's a shot of another character over Maddie's shoulder or behind her, Maddie is played by an adult double. So,
interesting.
Yeah,
a weird sort of like stunt double. We've got your stunt adult.
Yeah,
I need a stunt adult.
So, in order to get the most effective voice after biting his tongue, Matt Damon tied a hair tie around it to talk as if his tongue had been bit through.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which is, that's kind of clever.
Yeah.
John Wayne would have punched him in the face, though.
There's 3 women in my house. There should be a hair tie within 3 feet of me. Maybe I can try that.
You gonna try it for the rest of the show?
Uncle Simba, and then have some mashed potatoes.
She turned into Bill Cosby's routine.
I want some mashed potatoes. So, in order to get the most ready, read that.
Pat.
Despite Maddie Ross having the most screen time and being considered the protagonist, Haley Steinfeld was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in many award shows, including the Academy Awards.
I think that was probably a nod to her, like giving her a chance in a category where she might have had better odds of taking an award.
Yeah, because who was she up against that year? 2010 Academy Awards.
Well, and keep in mind, when you have 2 big marquee names like Jeff Bridges and Matt Damon, they're not going to let you be lead actress.
Right.
Matt Damon is the lead actress.
Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress 2010. Let's see. Was Amy Adams, Helena Bonham Carter, Haley Steinfeld, and Jackie Weaver. So.
Wait, Haley Steinfeld.
Would you believe?
What is it with railroad food? What are these little corn biscuits?
Wait, was that Best Actress or Best Supporting?
That's supporting.
Oh,
That was
okay.
for the Amy Adams one.
Yeah. So both. Melissa Leo won. I'm sorry, Melissa Leo.
Oh, she did? Okay.
Yeah,
Fighter, yeah.
The fighter was Amy Adams and Melissa Leo. Haley was True Grit. Helena Bonham Carter for The King's Speech, and Jackie Weaver for Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, if she'd had to compete in the Best Actress category, she's up against Sandra Bullock, Helen Mirren, Meryl Streep.
Oh, jeez.
Carey Mulligan, and Gabori Sidibe.
So precious. My name,
Gabrielle
Precious.
Sidibe.
Yep.
So, yeah, that would have been a rough ride for her there.
Yeah.
So, so moving on the trivia. It was nominated for 10 Academy Awards and failing to win any. Went down in film history as one of the most ever nominated films not to win an Oscar.
Wow.
Yeah. The original True Grit was nominated for far less number of Oscars, only 2, but still won one because they gave a sympathy vote for...
I don't want your sympathy, Oscar.
It's still a W.
That would have been awesome. If he had gotten up there, I don't need your sympathy.
He said, fill your hands, and shot them off.
Then he put his bridle between his teeth and rode off into the night.
And the funny twist of the story is, in the end, John Wayne became a method actor as he just became Mr. Cogburn.
Nice. Judge Parker was an actual judge in Fort Smith, and was known as a hanging judge.
Yeah, the only person in either one of these movies that is actual historical figure.
Yep.
Well, Bloody Bill Quantrill was mentioned as well.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, okay. You got me.
Mention.
Rooster Cogburn's full name is Reuben J. Cogburn. Rooster's his nickname. And,
shares a birth date with me.
Oh, very nice. So, maybe you are channeling Rooster Cogburn.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Jeff Bridges' Oscar nomination for this film marks the 7th time in history that one actor has been nominated for playing a role that had already earned another Oscar. Earn another actor an Oscar.
Earned another actor an Oscar?
Yes.
Mike's trying to save time for the show.
Yes. I'm going to skip every other word from now on. So, and although
we didn't actually get to see the lawyer this time, but we just heard his voice, and his voice is actually J.K. Simmons.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
I am a lawyer. Bum, 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 bum.
Nice.
And then, even though he was third billed, Josh Brolin doesn't show up until an hour and 18 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And a weird turn to the way to play that character, too.
It was pretty funny, though.
Yeah.
The whole time she's getting the gun ready, he's all like, She ain't gonna shoot me.
That, you know what though? I mean, that was kind of funny because he's been at the farm where she grew up for we really don't know how long.
Months at least.
Yeah. And he's just kind of like, you're that bookish girl.
Yeah.
Maddie.
What are you doing out here?
What? And that was great. It's like he was honestly for a moment really confused.
Yeah.
Like, what are you?
When he figured out who it was.
Why are you out here? It's like.
Because, I mean, at first it's just weird that there's a girl out here. He's like, what? What's a girl doing? And then he realizes it's her. He's like, what the hell is she doing out here?
Right.
This is a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
Meet you here in the middle of the mountains.
Then you shoot him in the short ribs.
You
Broke a short rib.
I don't know what that means.
One of your floating ribs. That's what it used to be called, short.
Yeah.
They're
So
delicious with a little sauce.
Uh-huh.
nice.
That's like a little marauder short rib. Mm.
Uh-huh. Oh, wait, what?
Huh? So so there's some trivia. Coen brothers, in case you didn't know, that's the Raising Arizona, Big Lebowski, Fargo,
Yes.
Yep.
Miller's Crossing.
Miller's Crossing. I still haven't seen Miller's
Barton
Crossing.
Fink,
The Man Who Wasn't There.
The Informant.
Yes. So
they got
lots.
a couple good credits to their name.
Yeah.
I knew Stare at Goats.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Was that it? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
too.
Oh, brother, wherefore art thou?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of flavor of that ridiculousness in this one too.
Burn After Reading. Ugh.
But I think honestly, I liked how this one just jumped straight into it. In the first movie, there was this whole kind of like you had to meet the dad, had to see the interaction between Maddie Ross and her dad, and then there was this whole like 10, 15 minutes at the beginning of the movie that they apparently felt that you needed to know, needed to see happen.
Well, they wanted to
You need to
establish.
understand that she loved her father because we couldn't have just been told that.
Exactly. In this one, they're like,
hey, it's my father. I loved him.
yes. In this one, they're like, he shot my dad. I appreciate how much they trunciated this this There was a lot.
Truncated?
Yeah, truncated. They crunched it.
Truncated?
Truncated.
Truncated.
Hey, fuck you all.
That's twice now. I was going to just let one go with Joel. Just throw you under the bus.
Yeah, thanks, Joel. Thanks, Joel.
Bonanza.
I'm getting in the car. I'm going to drive up there. I'm going to shit on your doorstep.
Ooh, do it.
Yeah. Oh, yo.
Okay.
You don't know what I've had to eat today. So, but I like how they took out a lot of the, they took out a lot of the Injun cutting the hair scenes.
Yeah.
Scenes that we knew we like the scene where he goes into the cabin to go talk to the Injun, find out what's going on. Kicks the asses of two kids that are picking on a donkey.
Yeah, that was great.
That whole scene where he kicks the one kid, knocks the other one down, and you think he's going to leave the girl alone for a while. Then he turns around, kicks her in the back of the head for beating up on the donkey.
Yeah,
and then
because at first you're like, aren't you going to do anything to the other one? She was messing with. Oh,
okay. You were just waiting to get behind her, kicks her off, and literally kicks her in the back of the head and knocks her off the porch. And then when he comes back out, the first thing he does is kick the kid right off the edge of the.
Those were different times back then when you could just beat anybody's kid. It didn't matter.
That was so good, though.
Despite the changes in story, even early on, the script was, in a lot of ways, verbatim in a lot of places
Yeah, that's true.
to the original.
One of the things that was cut or minimized that I could have done with more of, I thought was better in the original, was the old Chinese man and the cat. That whole family dynamic.
Because he only had the Chinese man only had one scene.
He might have only had one line.
Yeah.
Well, when
Yeah.
she got him in bed,
Yeah.
that was pretty much it, I think, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but in the original movie, there was the whole, him introducing them, and they had dinner at his place, and then he started to play cards with them.
Yeah, that weird card game that I had no idea what they were playing.
And then every time when she came in, she's like, "Good morning." He's like, "Good morning," and there was that establishment of a character for sure.
Yeah. That's just a little. Overall, I was pretty happy with this, but that was one of the things I noticed I was not as happy with.
I will say, being a fan of the original movie, I was very annoyed / worried when I heard that they were going to remake it, and I went to go see it in the theater, specifically just to compare the two and just to get my opinion on it and everything. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was very well done.
I just rewatched for the second time today, and I mentioned that I would be revisiting the subject of the book in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I got to the end, and the ending is most different, like the beginning and the ending are the two things that are most different about the two films.
Yeah.
I was talking aloud and like, they made these changes and I'm trying to figure out why. How was the story improved by making these changes? You've got like this huge downer ending, but like LaBeouf survives in the remake. And it was actually my wife, Sarah, who asked a very important question. She asked, well, this was based on a book, right? How did it end in the book? And I realized when she asked those questions, I took a look at it, and all of the changes that were made for the remake were faithful to the original novel.
Really?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So I think in a lot of ways that even the Duke would have preferred this version to the one he was in.
Well, they specifically said that this is not a remake. This is a retelling of the story, based more on the book.
Well, then I got to read the book because I really like the second one better than. I mean, I enjoyed them both, but I like this telling of the second one better. Just because it. Well,
that was one of the things that they told that the Coen brothers told Jeff Bridges when they were getting ready to film this. They're like, don't pay attention to John Wayne's version. Just pay attention to the book.
Yeah. The scene with her outside the outhouse was pretty damn funny. I'm gonna ban her. Raw. His voice was hard to get. I know that. Guess that's his thing now, to talk like he's got a mouthful of cotton candy.
Right. I don't know. I was able to take it seriously in this one as opposed to R.I.P.D., which is terrible and you should not watch it.
Yet you've mentioned it now, so.
And his whole attitude was pretty. When they found the guy hanging in the tree, is that him? I don't know. And then she finally crawls up the tree, cuts him down. Boom.
Yeah.
I do not know this man.
Yeah.
Cut him down. Why? I might know who he is.
But
she finally does it. I do not know this man.
Yep.
And the whole scene with the creepy ass doctor in the bear suit.
Yeah.
Do either of you need medical attention? No. No, we don't.
That was, I think, more of a Coen Brothers affectation. They're like, time for some weirdness.
Yeah. And then I like the callback to him later after Matt Damon gets the shit kicked out of him. Yes. We knew a medical man about 5 miles down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the medical dude, and if that's their reasoning was to just have that little bit of weirdness, it was worth it.
I have to ask, compare Kim Darby to Haley Steinfeld.
Okay, one was 6 years older than the other.
No, I mean in terms of performance. In terms of performance,
Haley was much better, honestly.
How did you feel about her performance? Is I guess my roundabout question.
It was better in the fact that it was less noticeable how awkward she was. I think Kim Darby I don't know, she's just not a good actress.
And history kind of backs it up, because she didn't exactly get a whole bunch of top-level stuff.
Well, haven't really seen Haley Stanfield in anything in the last 4 years either.
Well, which actually means that Kim Darby's one up on her, because she's still working. She was doing TV as recently as last year.
No, Haley Stanfield is very busy. Actually,
yeah, Ender's Game, 3 Days to Kill. Yeah, she was in Ender's Game, 2013. Yeah. Begin Again. She's got.
I don't ever hear her name mentioned.
Pitch Perfect is.
She's not a marquee person, but she's been very busy.
Working.
Yeah, she's doing something. So. Something called Hate Ship, Love Ship. What the hell is that?
That's the remake of Love Ship, Hate Ship.
Pat snorted.
I know. What the hell is a Hate Ship, Love Ship? What the fuck is that?
It's a song Anyway,
On the hate ship.
On the hate ship. Pop.
Jiminy Willikers. No, it's there's this song called "The Hate Tank" by SOD. But anyway, I thought they needed to put the scenes back in with the horse trading because I thought that established the character a little better.
Those were in.
No, like that they were the way they were in the original, because they kind of cut them short for humor's sake. I mean, for the joke to have the right punchline. But
Yeah, for him to be like, "Are we trading again?" Yeah.
That was funny.
It's funny, but I gotta agree with Joel that there is something different about modern filmmaking. There's one of the conceits is that we're going to sacrifice everything to a punchy, move the plot along because our audience doesn't have a very long attention span.
I just
There
felt
was
like
a little of that here.
that in the original it was a bit more drug out and maybe a couple beats too long, but at the same time it really established her character, her sensibility, her just everything that kind of made the character what it was. And here, although I think Haley Steinfeld is a much better actress and everything, but because of her age, you needed to have that extra little bit to establish who she was, because she really is 14 at the time. And so, I thought that was missing. But other than that, I thought, yeah, she was leaps and bounds beyond Kim Darby for sure.
Yeah. So, I'm just going through all the scenes in my head. Matt Damon, the relationship between Matt Damon and Jeff Bridges in this one, and Rooster Cogburn, I think was pretty funny. The whole scene at the house, at the what do they call it? The hole up? What was the phrase?
The lean-to?
Dugout.
The dugout. Yeah, at the dugout. When they ditched him, when he took off and it was just the two of them riding, I didn't trying to figure out what the heck was going to happen. But then when LaBeef, that's such a weird name. When the beef showed up,
Where's the beef?
Where's LaBeef?
Where's LaBeef?
that it was a little bit more real. It was like, he shows up he's been following behind him. He shows up and kind of muffs up the whole thing, but still shows he's got a pair on him because he stands up to these four guys on horseback that are just about ready to shoot him down and then gets drug out behind the horse. I mean, I liked that interaction between the two of them, that they were on this because there was cash at the end of it for both of them, and they really didn't like each other.
Sure. And in this case, in that particular scene, it gets messed up, but because he had split off on his own and come into a situation he didn't understand, rather than basically being the skittish guy in the heist movie that shoots a gun when he shouldn't, which is what happened in the original.
Right.
So I guess overall, LaBeef, in some ways, as played by Matt Damon, was both more sympathetic and more competent.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I don't know that you had that much of a character arc with him though, versus Glenn Campbell's portrayal.
That's fair.
Yeah, because he never shows himself to be incompetent from the beginning.
Right. There's not as much of a redemption story for him because he's just a little bit of a jerk here and there, and he's a little bit of a loudmouth, but he's not like terrible.
No,
well, except for the whole sitting in the bedroom watching the 14-year-old sleep.
That's just creepy.
Well, and deciding he's going to take it on himself to spank her until he's done, whatever that means.
Well, come on. Who among us has not stalked and spanked a 14-year-old? Throw the first stone.
God damn it. Now I got to write this time down and cut it out.
You'll fix it in post.
I'm throwing several stones at you. Yeah.
Gallstones.
Anyway. Well, you can throw a whole gallbladder at me here in about a week.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh. So anyway, moving on. Moving on.
Okay, I don't know. You said moving on. I'm wondering where we're going.
You're supposed to follow that up.
We seem to have gotten stuck here. I turned into Carl Childers and Sling Blade, apparently.
I was going to say
that was definitely not Carl Childers.
That kind of sounded like Jeff Bridges trying to do Sean Connery.
I am the
That's exactly what it was. It was a bad Sean Connery.
You don't know bad Sean Connery, Patrick.
Oh, jeez. That is Elle doing Sean Connery.
It's getting so much worse. He had kind of a lispy thing with marbles, and I don't know what's going on.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, so we've got the big changes are the
You can kiss him if you want.
You done?
Yeah, the big changes
he's
are
not.
We've got the exposition at the beginning. We've got the reintroduction of kind of the religious aspect of some of the characters, which was odd that it's in the modern one and not in the one from the 60s. But that's much more period appropriate with them talking about God, and there was a much heavier religious angle in this one where it was barely even mentioned in this 69.
Everybody keeps identifying themselves as Christians. That's good.
Yeah.
Christians.
Well, and they keep playing. What is it? What a friend we have in Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On the background.
Yeah, especially during that hanging scene where the engine doesn't get to talk.
Yeah.
Oh, that was brilliant.
I would like to say,
it was true to form, though. I think for the time.
Yeah, it was.
And then, of course, the ending where LaBeef survives, but instead of having the happy, hey, you're going to be buried here when you die. Hey, Mr. Fat Man, dance around on your horse.
Dance for me, fat man.
They come back and she never meets him again. She never marries. She's lost her arm and she's about to go see him and he's dead.
Much more realistic for the time.
Wait, let's clarify. She went to go see LaBeef. Or I'm to see Cogburn, not LaBeef.
Yeah.
Right.
She never saw LaBeef again.
She never saw either of them again.
Yeah.
She never heard anything else about LaBeef either.
Yeah.
It's like he disappeared almost.
So, but yeah, I know. I like the fact that, she gets bit by a rattlesnake in the first one. And she's fine and dandy, because he got her there in time. Initially, I called bullshit. I've seen what happens when you get bit by a rattlesnake. And I think that her losing her arm in the second one was much more realistic and played more to the character. That she was just like, I woke up, I had no arm. And I'm lucky for it, that sort of thing. And she's this stoic old maid who never got married because she just didn't have time for that sort of thing. She had too much stuff to do, and she kept that whole persona of all business, this is what needs to get done right now, feeling through the entire movie, all the way to the very end. Whereas, in the end of the first one, she, broke character at the end to see the fat man dance for her. Which brings me to another thing, the whole let's tell a story at the campsite.
The Midnight Caller.
Yeah, you play the Midnight Caller. That was so out of place in both movies.
Well, I thought it was pretty good. Especially in the first movie, because it just kind of showed how awkward that character was. She's like, I don't really know how to react to these two guys fighting and drinking. So,
no, but that wasn't Maddie Ross. That was Kim Darby. That was all improv.
See, I don't know. I kind of think that if you're a kid and you've been out camping before and it's like, okay, things are getting weird. Oh, there's a campfire. I can tell a campfire story. I mean, if it was like 50 or 100 years later, she probably would have asked if there was any marshmallows to break the tension so she could make s'mores.
Maybe.
S'mores.
Now we lost Pat. Oh.
There go the pants again.
Now, the problem is he's got to find himself some 14-year-old marshmallows. What's wrong? There's something wrong with me.
That was brilliant.
So, but no, I just thought that was kind of awkward. Especially after the scene where she throws down and she rides across the river and, does that whole scene, cut to the weird spanking thing. And then that I just felt that was kind of. I think she would have, in the character the way it was played at that point, might have just sat and let them do what they were doing instead of, or told them cut it out, as she did a lot of other times. Where she was just like,
her lawyer.
Yeah, do you want me to call my lawyer? I've hired you. I don't know why you're following me. I'm going to sue you, and I'll sue you if you don't do what I told you to do. It just seemed like that let's tell a campfire story was a little bit weird. It wasn't. I don't think that was a true. I would be curious to see if that section is actually in the book. So there you go.
Fine.
Yeah.
Let's look it up. talk amongst yourselves. I'll look it up.
You don't have to. I mean, it's you don't.
I'm curious now myself.
Well, I know how fast you read. It's going to take a while.
Shut up. I don't believe you're making fun of how anybody reads. Period.
These guys are there.
No, I can read just fine. I just can't speak well.
I can't talk.
So, overall, it sounds like all four of us liked both of them, and I think in varying degrees of margin. Am I gathering correctly that we all preferred the remake, either a little or a lot?
I surprisingly like the remake better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too. It's close, but I prefer the remake.
Yeah, I enjoyed them both, and I thought both of them were a lot of fun. And I enjoyed them both as westerns for the time that they were shot in.
That's kind of where I was headed with what my thought too.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a 1969 John Wayne flick, a western. He's 60-some years old. Everyone knows exactly how John Wayne acts in the movies at this point, and we got exactly what we came for. Was that this is John Wayne. You want to see John Wayne? He's playing over-the-top, ham-fisted, smarmy ranger who knows his stuff and can shoot, hold the reins in his teeth and fire off his 2 Navy guns while he's riding. Which, honestly, I think between the two scenes, the scene with Jeff Bridges was better.
See, I'm going to have to disagree with you there.
Yeah, I'm with you as well.
Really?
I think the first movies was better.
Yeah, I think I'm with the Wayne one too.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
I really like Jeff Bridges, though, so that's one of my things. So.
I like Jeff Bridges. I'm a fan for sure. But, I mean, they're the same thing, but two different animals because of the time.
And that's the thing is, if you're going to talk about what John Wayne was great at, it's not in like performing a character that's all that different from John Wayne. When he's talking, delivering dialogue, that's not his strength. It's him looking like a badass on a horse with a couple of guns.
Yeah.
And this is John Wayne at the top of his form in the role he was recognized and will be remembered for forever.
Yep.
So I'm not saying that Jeff Bridges was not good in that scene. I just can't possibly give him the edge.
Okay.
I'm thinking that the Coen Brothers one was a bit more dark and the other one was a bit more light. And I think it's because of the time they were made. But as two separate films, they're really good. But I don't know that I could pick one over the other just because they are so different, even though it's the same story.
And I agree with you on that. I mean, I would, if they were on, if somebody wanted to want to watch True Grit, okay, I would be fine with either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd enjoy both of them. For one of the others, I mean, I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. I'd watch them both again. This is definitely, even though I'm not a big fan of the '60s style of westerns. I mean, I do like the Unforgiven and the Tombstone and that sort of a little bit leaning towards the end of the century type.
Just don't watch Silverado. God damn it! What a piece of crap. Sorry.
If you want to watch a good 60s Western, watch The Outlaw Josie Wales.
Ooh.
I would also recommend, just because we were talking about earlier, The Wild Bunch. Something that's a little non-standard.
That's like one of the most violent Western movies ever made.
It feels different than all the other Westerns out there, so it's one that you kind of got to see just to say, oh, huh.
See,
it's good, though. It's really good.
Probably my favorite 60s Western is probably one of my favorite Westerns of all time, and I know I mentioned it in the first half. That's The Good, the Bad, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I don't know if I've seen
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is one of the most iconic gunfights, too.
Sure, and in a lot of ways, because they focus on all three of the characters. You think of it as an Eastwood flick, and it is, but it's not as though the mysterious stranger, man with no name, is the lead necessarily. The other two characters are very well developed, and there's a lot going on in that film. Get to the point where a lot of cases, you're pretty sure who you want to lose the gunfight at the end, but you might not know who you want to win. It's obvious only one of the three of them's gonna. So.
Don't spoil it.
No, will not. It's an unqualified recommendation for that film.
Cool.
All right. So, any other thoughts, or we want to talk about what we've got on tap for next week?
Let's talk about the tap.
All right. So next week we did our first Western show this week. We're going to do our first anime show next week.
It is our first anime show, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a month of firsts.
Which is crazy because anime, like if Westerns is a huge unexplored section of film culture, in a lot of ways, anime is one of the last completely unexplored areas of geek culture that we haven't talked about yet. And we're going to start with something very popular right now for the now, Attack on Titan, and we're going to be comparing it to the dark fantasy classic Berserk from the 90s.
Yes. I am a anime fan and have been since high school, thanks to my buddy Dan, who introduced me to Dirty Pair long ago. But I'm looking forward to this one because I have seen some Attack on Titan, but I haven't seen enough to form an opinion on it. So, kind of cool for this one.
Yeah, and it's a shame because I know that you guys aren't going to have time to watch all of Berserk, but Berserk is noted for having one of the craziest mind-bending endings to any anime series ever.
Sweet.
So,
all right. So, well, thank you for listening. And
before we sign off real quick, in the original book, it does have the Midnight Caller is actually in Charlie Porter's book.
It is.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
And apparently the book is told from Maddie's point of view.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
That I'd noted in the analysis of her character. So if you'd like to catch any of our old shows, you can always check out our archives at iTunes, Blueberry, Stitcher, TalkShoe, find podcasting directories, or our home on the web at www.40go14.com. Also, of course, at the Musings of a Geek podcast network and Saturdays at noon on Geek Life Radio.
Yes. And if you want to call us and give us some more suggestions or help me with my transitions, you can give us a call at 708-NOW-RAP. That's 708-669-9727. Till then, y'all have a good night.
See you later, Pilgrim.
You are now leading the world of Musings of a Geek podcast network. Stay geeky, my friends.
All right, let me just close the office door, and then I will count us down.
What the heck was that?
Josh got attacked by the door. What
He lost a heart.
What is he doing?
It's like doing the Chevy Chase pratfall.
Josh just lost 2 hearts trying to shut the door.